I want to tell you a story today about two immigrants, since this nation, after the First Nations, is a country of immigrants. There's an immigrant named Jorge who came to this country when he was 17 years old. He was an honors student back home, and he only had 3 months to graduate, but his visa came. So it's a very exciting time. You have a certain number of days where you can travel. So he came to the US. His mother enrolled him in local high school, thinking that he would need maybe a year and a half to learn English, place out of all the subjects, because he didn't need to learn them over, and then be on his way. 2 years later, Jorge was still in high school, not graduating. So this is now his 6th year of high school. So he dropped out and entered the workforce. And Jorge then got caught up in a cycle of unemployment and underemployment because not having a degree was a very big barrier. Jorge is not alone. You think maybe this only happens to immigrants in the Bronx where he went. But actually, 2/3 of our workforce here in the US does not have a 4-year degree. So that is the majority of people who get up and go to work every day. And they too are unemployed and underemployed and suffer barriers to entry. And I think the low unemployment in this country really masks that issue for a lot of people like Jorge. So the good news is that people like Jorge are learning and skilling through alternative models. They're going to vocational programs, to boot camps, apprenticeship programs, even community colleges as an alternative to a 4-year degree. But even when you go through those programs, you still face barriers. You don't have the networks. You might have the skills. You don't have the degree. You don't have the network. And there are 40 million people in this country being served by a vibrant alternative education system. Now I'm going to tell you another story of another immigrant from the Bronx. We're going to call her Sky for now. So Sky came to this country when she was 4 years old. And she was very lucky and figured out how to go from bilingual to monolingual. And this is all the same public school system. And then went to some very elite schools like Columbia and MIT. And so she graduated feeling like she could do almost anything in the world. She ended up working at an education company because she wanted to help people like Jorge. She thought helping people like Jorge get back on a traditional pathway, going to college, getting a degree, was the way. After bringing tutoring to 10,000 low-opportunity students across low-performing schools, she had one really big pain point around hiring. It was very hard for her to find talent for her after-school tutoring programs to reflect the Black and brown and working-class kids that she was serving. An unintended consequence of the artificial intelligence of the time in hiring meant that every candidate that she saw on Monster, on LinkedIn, on Indeed, was filtered through a pedigree lens. So did they have a 4-year degree? Were they the captain of, their college soccer team? And did they know someone? Were they internally referred by someone in the organization, someone we trust? So of course, someone like my brother who didn't have a degree and so didn't form networks in college because he didn't go to college, was working class, immigrant, didn't have strong networks, would have never found his way to an organization like mine. But I knew different. I started hiring people. I would go to church, to salons, to laundromats. I knew that in order to make my after-school programs thrive, you didn't even need to speak English. You needed to speak the language of the parents in that school. And in some of the high-density schools that I worked in Washington Heights, in Harlem, in the Bronx, Spanish was more important than English. And so I was able to hire parents who made sure that on a Saturday, there were 300 students showing up for tutoring. On a Saturday, we weren't paying them or bribing them, we were tutoring them. And as a result, I think I gave away that I'm Sky, right? So I'm that second immigrant. I switched pronouns. So as a result, I outperformed my peers who were going to the traditional hiring route and couldn't find the talent to keep up. That second immigrant that I talked about was my oldest brother, Jorge. And so these are two people who come to this country at different points in their lives, same home, same upbringing, and have two vastly different outcomes. So motivated by my brother, it's a labor of love, which is why part of the reason why Laboracts is called Laboracts, and with my learnings of building a team of 300 people that I was managing, using very creative methods of going into the community and finding the talent, I saw a big gap and a big opportunity. I saw that education is still failing a lot of people. And the hiring tools that we have out there are failing job seekers, and they're failing hiring managers of organizations that are trying to grow and thrive. And you would think that I was in a unique position. But today in this country, we have 7 million unfilled jobs. And by the year 2025, that's projected to go to 7 million. It's a huge opportunity, and so Laboracts is in the market trying to correct a lot of those unintended consequences. So we help companies source from more non-traditional, diverse, alternative programs so that they too can find the talent that they need to build the future. I invite you to go back to your organizations, wherever you may be in the totem pole, and advocate for your organization to drop 4-year degree requirements, to source from outside of personal networks and 4-year degree alternatives, and you can come to us for that, to use competency-based hiring frameworks, and to hire for value fit and not culture fit. Thank you.